afternoon, it is currently 3 p.m. and welcome to the Global Surprise News. Today we're going to talk about Shinzo Abe and what is going on with him right now. First, let's talk about the context. The First Minister, Shinzo Abe, announced his resignation on August 28 because of its medical condition. Abe is mostly known for its economic politics, the abenomics. Let's remember that the abenomics is based upon the three arrows: fiscal stimulus, structural reforms, and money easing. The First Minister of Japan implemented this politics in 2012 when he took office. And these have had their successes as well as their downfalls.
Before the pandemic outlook. On the bright side, we have Japan being one of the strongest economies in the world. They had low unemployment rate and there was high tourism and high investment. And also real estate prices and the financial markets went up. Abe's appointment at the country's central bank kept borrowing costs low and floated the economy with yen, Japan's currency. That helped the country shake off decades of economic stagnation and prop up its stock market. And we have the current outlook that the economy of Japan fell into a downturn. They had negative growth and, of course, the tourism decreased. They faced the virus while having low interest loans and cash donations. And although there has been a big improvement in the economy, they still have a lot of challenges they have to cover, and taking into account the current crisis and the sudden change of power, it has to be done quickly. Japan faces the largest public debt in the developed world when compared with its economic output. Abe wanted to stimulate growth via government spending. He injected money into the country but didn't get to control the immense public debt.
The problematic is that the resignation of the First Minister of Japan was all of the sudden, and he has no clear successor. So a lot of economists affirm that it would be very difficult to change ideas and policies in such a short time. So whoever gets to be his replacement would have to continue with this abenomics, even if that means there's going to be problems with them in the future.
The analysis. A good variable to measure economic growth of a country is the GDP. So we see this chart that shows us the GDP of the country for the past years, and we see the average is situated from 2013 and 2019. Abe took office in 2012, and he also has done a lot of things in order to boost their economy. This is some things he had achieved. He increased private non-residential investment, corporate pre-tax profit, tax revenues, and nominal GDP. And I really want to highlight the number of employed persons, female, since he had a very good intention that was increase the women participation on the workforce. Next chart shows us Japan's economic growth under AVE or abenomics. It shows us real GDP and the nominal GDP for Japan for the past years, specifically from 1982 to 2017. And there is a lost decade of Japan was, as its name indicates, there were 10 years of economic stagnation produced by the Japanese asset price bubbles collapse in late 1991. This chart shows us that indeed the abenomic aided accelerate growth again, and as I showed before, from 2012 and to 2019, there has been a big improvement. So now we see Japan's growing government debt. As I said before, Japan has the largest public debt compared to other big economies like Greece, Italy, the US, United Kingdom, Germany. These are very, very solid economies, and they still have public debt, but not in the amount Japan has. And this chart is showing us that. And also, fiscal policy has been very tight this year, according to Tom Lermouth, a Japanese economist. And also that Japan has been spending money in order to support firms and households during this world economic crisis. But there's still a lot of debt to cover, as I said before. So fiscal spending is going to be obviously limited somehow if Japan wants to recover in a proper way. I have learned over the past courses that economic growth comes with a lot of factors behind it. a country that has a healthy population, that has high standards of living, low levels of inequality, and much more. It's a country that tends to grow faster and more sustainably. And although Japan suffers from a considerable gap between the richest and the poorest, Japan also has a very great educational system. 78% of adults aged 25 and 64 have completed upper secondary education, and also when it comes to health, life expectancy at birth is 84 years, one of the highest. So even though there is still a lot of uncertainty due to the pandemic and now the resignation of Shinzo Abe, and despite the fact that Abe's policies have also created negative effects, I really think Japan is going to work things out and it's going to continue being one of the biggest powers of the world. Leads us to the debate question. Do you think the abenomics has worked for Japan over the past years? What would you change of it? And what do you think it's going to happen once the new minister accepts the charge?